hello, sweet souls. My name is Abbie. I am the reader of AV Tarot Reading. And I must say that in the last 5 minutes that I've talked with my two little volunteers, I do believe they're slowly becoming my favorite people ever. I'm just saying. So hopefully I can make them laugh. Hopefully I can make you laugh. But our game plan for today is to actually just demonstrate what it's like to get a 30-minute session with me. So the ins and outs, nuts and bolts, the process of how it works and how it operates. But please feel free to comment your maybe your comments or your questions or any other strange, weird, and unusual redundancies that I like to talk about. Hi, Miss Lori. I see you in the comments. Miss Lori and Miss Sandraine are our moderators. So if we have spammers, because you know it sometimes happens, they will be the sweet souls. They'll be kicking people out left and right. And don't worry, if we accidentally kick you out on accident, you'll be able to come back to the next session. So no worries there, even if it was an accidental boot. The way that I like to run these sessions and my private one-on-one sessions is first giving you a high-level overview of what the session is going to be like. The game plan for me is to bring them on stage for us, to chat with them for just a quick second, and then to talk to them about their question or their questions. We're giving each of them 30 minutes. So let's see what shows up during that 30-minute timeline. Ms. Lori says, how are you? I'm doing well, sweet pea. I hope you're doing well too. I know, like, what is it? This last week has been interesting, global politically, right? It's been strange, weird, and unusual. Oh my goodness, Atlantis. Hey, sweet pea, how are you? Oh, I love it when you guys come in. It makes me like so giddy and fuzzy and fun and makes me lose my words all at the same time. So you can see how delicately I run things. Anywho, so let me take a quick second to go ahead and pull Miss Denise on. After Denise has had her session, we'll pull Miss Patricia up. But let's go ahead and hop in. So, Miss Denise, here we go. Hey, so now, like I usually tell everybody, the following session is designed for entertainment and entertainment purposes only. You know, we like to say medical or legal advice should not be given. So please take a look at your professionals before implementing anything that we chat about today. But all in all, honey, you do what you want with what you want. No one's going to talk.
Otherwise. It's Amy that told me to do it. Yeah, no, I'm just, hey. Blame me for everything that happens from this point on, woman. This point on.
You know, the funny thing is that it's a legal precedent. Like in some states, you have to say it because if you are that kind of person that took that wisdom and made a stock investment because of it, or you know, spent all your money and became bankrupt because of it, you could essentially come back to me and say like, hello. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, honey.
Sorry.
I miss Kiana. Well, Miss Denise, this is my first time reading for you, and I always see your comments and I always see your participation. And thank you so much for being like a little bit of just the sweet soul in the environment.
A fangirl. That's all I am.
You're gonna make me tear up. Oh my goodness, don't do that. Actually, tell me something before we hop into your question. How did you come to find my work? That is something I don't know about you.
I think I was looking for when I was first starting to get into the tarot aspects, and I was looking and you popped up, and I watched one of your videos and fell, in awe of your skills and what you have to offer and how you portray yourself. And you're so kind. Even when there's a troll in here, you know how to secretly like, bye-bye. In my words, I'd be like, bye, bitch. But no, you're just like so sweet, and I don't know, you're not shy with sharing your tools and your gifts, and I don't know. I gravitated towards you. I tell everybody, I'm like, okay, here's this lady. Okay, she's the one, yeah.
Well,
So, no, and I mean, I've been a fangirl ever since,
I appreciate that. I always appreciate kind of hearing like the origin story of how we met. It helps me understand what works and also what doesn't, and like how did I come into your like line of sight, like how'd that happen? And I love those stories. So thank you so much for sharing that with me. Well, hun, this is the easy and the fun stuff. I love digging and working for people. This is like if I had a secret power, I think this would be it. Like tarot reading or psychic reading for people. That's my legit little superpower. So, hun, what can I dig into for you today? What can we open up?
For me, okay, I don't know my biological father. I never met him. He passed back in December of 2020. um, of esophagus cancer kind of thing. So I didn't know him. I had gotten to talk to him a couple times uh, between the 90s and stuff, but then we somehow dropped off and I never really got to really get to know him. And even though I can talk to spirits, I can't connect. Don't, I don't know whether I feel comfortable with that. I don't know what it is. So that's why I'm trusting you with this task. And if he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't, I've got another woman my mother I can go for, because
There you go.
somebody else that I was kind of estranged from and everything. And that's another story. So yeah.
We have stories for days. That's always
Yeah, we've got my parental figures are quite anomalies in my life. So yeah. It's just like, but yeah, I would like to be able to connect to them and find out some questions, just like, what the fuck? Why? Like kind of like to be direct, and sorry to mess up your video, and I'll refrain from the F word.
Honey,
Yeah.
I am a firm believer in being exactly who you are, even if that includes an F bomb or two. So
But I should be a little bit better about that. But yeah, no. So I'm just trying to, connect, especially with some of the stuff that I'm going through. Um, emotionally and growing and stuff, and I just feel that I need to connect to them and to set that stuff free so that then I can grow even further, you know what I mean?
okay, understood. So you want to start there? Let's dig into
Yeah,
see
let's just I just see if he shows up. I mean, in general, I mean, he
okay.
didn't really show up in life, so why I'm not, that's my thing. Like, hey, why would you? But hey, he could be working on himself.
He
They
could
work the other
be.
time.
He could be. Okay. Can I get his name if you don't mind me asking?
Stanley. Do you need
Stanley.
last name?
No, that's fine. It just helps me kind of follow your little energetic pull to him. So
Gotcha.
that's where I go for that. Sometimes they give me their names, and sometimes I will go the entire session and not get the name because it's the relationship that's more important.
Yeah.
But if we cut to the chase and go right to it, that sometimes helps too. So Stanley. Okay. Let's see what we can get. And in case you don't know what I'm doing, I'm doodling at the moment. There's something that's kind of meditative about just the sketching process. So I'm just drawing like legit little boxes and circles. So
Ooh.
just the process.
Hey, everybody has their ritual, their process. I love it.
Okay. So the funny thing for me in hopping into what feels like your father energy, the first thing that I'm getting is a question mark regarding what do you want to know? Kind of like direct, like he feels like direct to the point, like, what do you want to know? And if you have a question, I would love to like just throw that at him, like, hey, hun, let's talk about it.
Why did he choose not to ever connect with me? And see, I'm gonna get really emotional with this.
Girl, I'm not scared.
How is that? Like, you don't realize like you can be this bad bitch all the time, and then when you get right to the nitty gritty and you're like standing there, it's like, it's that scary nervousness to get the answer.
It's okay. It's all good. Luckily, we got some fearless women in this room, so that's more than fine. So your main question is why
did he not reach out to find me?
the funny thing is I feel like he clarified your question. He's the energy. Okay, so he's loud and he's easy to talk to, so, or at least for me to talk to. So I feel like he's shown up for us. So yay, check mark, right? Secondly, I feel like he's clarifying like your actual question is why did I not choose you? Like that feels like to me the actual legit question.
Those are, oh my God, those are actually my words. Like from, whoa, girl. I knew you were good, but damn. No.
I'm just taking the notes. Let's know. All right. So he's prefacing that he's not giving you excuses, and you wouldn't listen or hear excuses to begin with because he takes pride in this aspect that you're a non-bullshitter. And so there's no sense in even trying to fluff the graces. There's no sense in doing the graces. So why didn't I choose you? His direct response to it is he didn't know how. And again, he's rehashing it's not an excuse, it's just what happened. He didn't know how. So I'm trying to see if he'll give me more information regarding that part. He calls his own dad a dick. Like he was
Oh, that
Like he went straight, like his upbringing like that was
That totally makes sense from what I know of the situation that ooh, God, girl, you give me some heart palpitations there with that. Like
no
that's
no attacks.
yeah, no, that wasn't in the plan.
No, I love how clear of a communicator he is in this session. So he's making it really easy. Why did he choose you? Do you have siblings?
I have he has a son. I have a younger brother from him and another woman, and then I have my own sister from my mother and her father. So they're both half siblings.
Got you. Because he was referencing like another daughter for a quick second there. Like basically, like the job that he had signed up for, he didn't know how to do, and so
He did adopt a daughter, which
okay.
whatever. Like not to have attitude, but wait, you had a biological daughter, dude.
He's giving it to me like, you know how sometimes you feel like you can just start over if you just create a clear slate and pretend like the past didn't exist. You think you can start over, but those demons, well, he's giving me the metaphor, the demons don't go away.
Nah, because bitch, they're right here. In human flesh. No.
He likes your personality. He's taking ownership for you kind of being a little spicy than parts of the family. So he's like, yeah, you got that from me kind of feel. He's given me like a memory or a conversation. I don't know which yet, but it's kind of like if, for instance, you had a conversation with your mom about how much you're like your dad or something, you're like your father, kind of those kind of conversations. Did she ever do that or say anything like that for you? Because that's kind of something he's like bringing up a little bit.
No, because my mother didn't tell me that my sister's father wasn't my father until I was like 18,
Okay.
which that was a breath of fresh air because that guy was worse than this one. But there are things that like nature versus nurture kind of thing where my grandma would go, you have to get that from your father, from what he did in life. Oops.
I'm wondering then, because it was like he's pretty persistent. Like, no, she got it from me. She got it from me, or essentially like she was told she was a lot like me, kind of thing. And so that makes sense. If grandma said it, then that'll work.
That makes sense because grandma raised me.
Oh, okay. So your grandma was actually your mom figure, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
She raised me.
Then because I would assume from my sitting point he knows that, and so he's giving me the relationship, not the literal genetic components, right? That's like the weird blurry line when it comes to mediumship work. I feel like they work on relationship, not so much genetics. So if a mother figure shows up, it may not be your biological mom, but it may be the person who raised you and felt like mom. So
Yeah.
that's how it
Yeah.
works for me. All right, so let's see what else is in there. I want to make sure he likes getting straight to the point. Something that he's giving me is giving you the floor to ask whatever you want. So I feel like he's almost literally clearing like the dance floor. He wants to set the stage for you to say what you need to say, do what you need to do, yell the way you need to yell,
Mhm.
whatever it is that you needed to say to him that didn't get the opportunity to do so. He's giving you an opportunity now, but also after the session is over, he's definitely making it clear that this conversation isn't over. We don't have to be done just because Abbie's gone. You too can start to develop that connection. And it's more of an issue, not so much your inability to connect with him, it's your discomfort with that intimacy. And so he's working on your own, he's working at your own boundaries. So if you're like arm's reach, you have to stay way over there, he'll stay way over there. He's going to honor your respect, even if it's respect for silence. So whatever it is that you need, he's going to make sure that you get that out of him. But on this stage, this platform that he's kind of built for you today, anything that you want to talk about, he's right there for you. So you ask
Um,
the question, why didn't he choose you? His answer was he didn't know how. And if you want to continue to dig into that, please feel free or throw another question at him.
just basically, does he watch us, like me and my daughters? Does he see the people that we are and who we've become in spite of him? Nature versus nurture kind of thing.
The feeling I'm getting is a little bit of pride. So it's that how you've gotten better in spite of, not because of, how even though he wasn't, well, he gave me an ass. That's what he said. He was like, because I was an ass, you know, you've become more than what he could have hoped for. And he appreciates, did you say that you're a mom?
Yes.
He
I have two
appreciates
grown adult daughters.
adult daughters, yeah. He appreciates what kind of mom you've become, because he's giving it to me like if you looked at your history, that wouldn't have looked like plausible. It wouldn't have looked plausible. So I feel like he's giving me a touch of pride regarding how well you've done in spite of the garbage. Essentially, you've done well in spite of the garbage is kind of the way he's given it to me. So let's
And
say,
then what about like is there anything that he can give me insight on his parents? We know his dad's an ass, but like his relationship with them, if
who was the alcoholic in the family in his side?
he was an alcoholic, I am a recovering alcoholic. So yay, another little family trait. Yay, thank you for the throwdown there.
Aww. Do you know if any of his parents also had a substance abuse or alcoholism in that regard?
I am not sure on that at all. I know that with speaking with my brother that Stanley did have alcohol issues that he, you know, then finally gave up towards the end and stuff.
Gotcha. So the way it's being kind of shared and described to me, he's describing his younger years is was literally really dark, almost like he's bringing up memories for me of the stories that I heard of my grandfather. My grandfather was the son of a Pentecostal preacher in the South. And unfortunately, my great grandfather thought that my grandfather was a demon, like legit thought he was a demon, and kept continuing to try to pray the demon away and beat the demon out of him. And so anytime I dig into his story in that regard, the feeling of it being really dark, really like lights down, lights low, hard, dusty, dirty, seems to be the existence of a younger version of him. So I just feel like he's hiding. I feel like he's trying to be small. He's giving me feelings of like his parents or whoever was caretaking for him being under the influence or being under something. He's bringing me back to being little and like literally kind of the hiding under a table when such and such comes home, because it's just the closer you can stay out of the way, the less likely you are to accidentally get someone's wrath, kind of thing.
And from what I know, there is the grandfather was pretty, or my grandfather, his dad was pretty a harsh man based on like when his oldest daughter came home pregnant. It was right about the time that my mother got pregnant, and that's why he didn't tell them and stuff because of that whole thing. And then the older daughter, his sister had to actually give up her baby for adoption because back in the day, that's what they made you do, kind of thing.
Understood. He gave me a small reference of, I feel like he wanted to be a father, like biochemically, like he had the desire to be a dad, like that was innate in him. But his big fear was turning out to be like his dad. And since he only knew that, he didn't know different. And so instead of being an alcoholic and violent and having you hiding under the table, it's just easier to not. It's just to back up. And so he just did not have those tools. It's like, you can't get a Ferrari out of me, hun. It's not there. It's not there. And so unfortunately, it's kind of the same for him. He just did not have those skills and did not know what that looked like. I keep getting military references around him. Was there a military background or that kind of influence on there?
You're so good. You just, damn, girl. Like sitting here, I'm like, yes, yes, there was. He was in the Navy when my mother and him bada bing bada boomed.
Maybe. So was my grandfather, so that's kind of cool. I feel like he liked being in the Navy. He liked being part of something, but there was like this undercurrent with the buddies, and I say buddies like with quote marks. Hmm. He's sharing that like, and that's another time, another story. So, for instance, hypothetically, if you start to dig into his past and his history, and you hear stories about him in the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's probably right. It's probably right, whatever those stories are.
I think there is something that my brother had mentioned about, because he goes, oh, so did they meet through, I'll just use Bob as an example. Bob, and like that person was really somebody that he still kept in touch with even after he was out of the military. So that's interesting.
Yeah, whatever those stories are, I feel like that he gives it to me like that's another conversation. That's a different conversation. So either like somebody else will talk to you about it or talk you through it, or maybe that's something that you'll find out when you're doing your own work on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep pushing up against it, and he's like, "No, it's another time, another time." Okay, sir, that'll work. Gotcha. Okay. Is there any other questions that I can dig in on him?
Well, with like in regards to health wise, because he died of esophagus cancer, I'm going through some stuff with my esophagus. I'm just trying to figure out what the question would be to, I don't know what a good question would be around that sort of situation, because I mean, health is one of those iffy things anyways to dig into. Um, yeah, no, I mean, I wish that he would, okay, why, even after we had gotten in contact with each other and we were developing a relationship, why then did he back off from that even? Because we had a good chance to like start from, I wasn't asking him for anything. And we had that good jumping off point in the 90s.
Mhm.
That sounds so old. But back then to like, start fresh with just getting to know each other and stuff. And then he just all of a sudden, then I wasn't, oh no, I can't talk to you anymore. I'm like, okay.
I'm getting two layers to it. So I feel like I'm getting the first story, like the outward story, and then the actual story. So give me just a second. Let me dig through it. Was he with somebody at that time?
Yes, he's with his second wife, not my brother's mom.
Okay, so I haven't felt him feel like shame yet, and so this is an area where I feel like he's a little bit embarrassed that he made this choice, but I feel like he made a judgment call because his person didn't use the words "it's either her or me," but kind of made it like every time y'all two talked, she got pissy, and he kind of put the two and two together of like, I have to choose. Well, she's grown, and I live with this one, so I guess I have to choose this one. And
Yeah.
it's wildly unfortunate. I'm sorry, I didn't mean I had Kiana's question still up here. It's wildly unfortunate that that's what he decided to do, but he feels like a little bit embarrassed that that's what he did. That was the internal story. The external story, like what he kind of said on the outside. There's a subtle feeling of feeling like he wasn't good enough for you still. Oh, what about that? So it's like I feel like he understands then that you weren't asking him for anything. You weren't asking him to measure up. You weren't asking all these, things, but he was asking himself to measure up. He was asking himself to be what he wasn't beforehand. And then it just kind of circled back. He didn't know how. He didn't know how. He didn't know how. And then you add on the complexity of this other life that he's trying to do, he didn't know how to reconcile. He didn't know how to do the both at the same time. And so it seems like the shitty end of that answer is that he chose her because that seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I get that. I mean, he chose, because he just had like, I had my two daughters, and then my little brother, he had his baby coming up, so that would have been a different whole. And I mean, I understand that, but it is really just shitty.
It is shitty. Give me a second. Let me see what we can do about that now, because you guys have the ability to converse now. You guys have time available for you now in a way that y'all didn't have previously. So what can we do now? Big thing that he's showing back up for me is that you guys can still talk. So even if it's out loud in a letter, in your mind, however it is, you two can still talk. I feel like there's an element that you're feeling like, is that him? Is that actually him, or are you making it up? Because you know how when you're overeager and you feel like, is that him? Was that it? And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you can trust yourself, honey. Whenever you feel like you're getting something, it's okay
Yeah,
to
well,
trust yourself for that. But it's you second guess the information, or you doubt the information when it shows up. And you said you kind of do your own spiritual work on your own.
yeah, I do my own. I mean, I do mediumship for other people and stuff, but I don't step with it with, like, I don't do like my own family members. I don't go that way because I don't want to get into that auric field and stuff. But yeah, and that was like, I know when my mother pops in, because I feel her hesitation to come forward, because we have we just got some parental strained relationships going on here. Hey, just textbook case. Mama don't, daddy don't. Hey, but yeah, so no, and then it's like when I've tried to talk with Stanley, I think it's me putting up my boundaries, going, wait, no, why should I allow you to explain yourself now? So I'm just like, that's why when you asked for volunteers, I was like, this is the perfect time to like open dialogue and maybe start that, because I mean, his family line shows up really strong. Like, none of my mom's family shows up on the DNA stuff. So who knows if that woman's even my mother? No, but just kidding. I know she is. But but my father, that side, that's all those people. I'm like, who the heck? That's a whole bunch of thing.
Oh my goodness.
And that's what I'm like, being drawn to like move back east, but I'm also drawn to move towards where that family is, because they're all still in Illinois, and I just don't know if that's a good idea. It's like one of those things, like, how would that work out?
That's a really good question. The feeling that he's kind of giving me a mixed bag on, but also it just feels like a mixed bag, is it's not necessarily, is it a good decision to make or is it a bad decision? It's kind of like meh on what kind of decision it is. It's more of, how ready are you to deal with your stuff? How ready are you to confront it? Sometimes we need a little distance. Sometimes we're ready and we want to look it in the mirror. So if you feel ambitious, if you feel like, I can head this or meet this head on, then sure, do it. But if you feel like you still need some levels of removal, or points of separation between yourself and the stuff that your past holds, then maybe give it some time. So it's just, I feel it from that avenue instead of is this the right choice or not? It's not about right choice. It's about your readiness, your preparedness in that regard.
I like that point of view. Right.
Let's see. Is there anything else he wants to share? I love, or I'm finding it slightly fascinating where our family is like paralleling, because you just mentioned that he had esophageal cancer. And grandfather had an esophageal rupture. So like the artery that's right beside it ruptured, and he almost died from that bleed out. And apparently he's like the longest known survivor of that rewiring of that artery.
Wow.
So he's supposed to be in textbooks and stuff like that, because directly related to his previous alcoholism. So that was his stuff too.
That alcoholism will get us all with that esophagus, that's for sure.
Yeah, to say the least. Okay. I know you have the genetic biological components to that illness and your stuff currently, but something that I feel like is he's wanting to press is that this isn't your cross to bear. It's not like you were born into this family, so this is the cost of having this stuff. So let's not look at it like your penance. You're not doing penance for your family. You're not.
I'm not carrying around their baggage. Hell no. No, that's theirs. They need to drop it off at the Amtrak. I'm not taking it with me. No.
Groovy. Alrighty, sweet pea. Is there any other questions that I can dig into on him or any other topics that you're interested in?
No, I think that feels like there's a lot of healing that in hearing that from my medium right now, that has brought forth a lot of, I feel a lot lighter load. And I thank you for that, that all the things that you do. It's just like, it's such a beautiful gift. And I thank you so much because it really does feel like I feel like I can approach him now and hold those conversations and attempt to do my family's tarot reading like you did, the book thing, and have that is the most beautiful work I've ever seen done. I love your tarot reading ancestry thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, every time you talk about it, it reminds me of my want to like share how to do that or share how I did it. And I don't know how yet, but we'll figure it out. We'll brainstorm and maybe do a workshop or maybe do a little like something else that's a little bit more in depth over time. So that
I mean, you gave such a beautiful overview, and with all the skills and the teachings that I've got to add to, I mean, I just haven't done it yet, but I thank you so much for this. It's so beautiful and so blessed to meet you in person online, hey, 40 miles away, but hey, there we go.
Perfect. All righty, Miss Denise. Well, let me go ahead and pull you off screen for just a minute. I want to hop into the comments just to say hi to everybody. And please, like we said previously, please feel free to go get your tea or whatever it is that you need to take care of yourself. So I'm going to pull you down. Like, hey, she's going to make me blush, y'all. She's going to make me blush. But I did want to hop into the comments and just say hello. Aw. Ooh. She does the same, but she traces? Cool. I love that. Hi, Miss Kara. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we got rid of our little spammer. Thank you. Miss Sandrine, Sleepy, I'm glad that you're here. Oh, we get them quickly, huh? Sweet. Aw. She says, you're on a roll, Abbie. I'm new just from shopping your Abbie Tarot. Aw, she loves. So if this is the Atlantis that I believe it is, Miss Atlantis has been making lots of lovely purchases from my Abbie Tarot market. And it's such a fun place to chat with her. And surprisingly enough, she keeps hitting this one little glitch in my system that's messing with the shipping. So dear Atlantis, I'm sorry you keep running into that issue, but thank you so much for your purchases. It's always a sweet thing to see your name come across my page. Hi, Miss Mindy. I'm glad you're here. Oh my goodness. Did you see 2 stink bugs? Only 2 stink bugs? Or are those the little spammers? There's going to be the bombs. Those are the bombs. There she is. Perfect. Miss Jocelyn. Hi. Oh my goodness. We have a lot of people from YouTube this time. This is very, very cool. All right. Well, Miss Patricia, are you ready, dear sweet face? Hello. See,
hello.
So glamorous today. You make me look like I dressed down.
So I'm not gonna lie, I did this because I knew I was coming on stage. Let me tell you, I do not wear makeup every day, and my hair is board straight. Let me tell you, okay. I had to put a lot of hairspray for it to stay like this. So,
honey, I love it. I do think we all need a reason to get dressed sometimes, and doing live for me is my reason to get dressed and get dolled up a little bit. And
because from the waist down, I'm still wearing pajama pants. So,
girl, ditto. That's why I'm wearing a blanket. It's fine. Wonderful, sweetheart. Well, let me go and hop out of comments so I don't perpetually get distracted. But you saw how the first session went. It was a
I did.
bomb and a blast. So you know how the routine goes, hun. What can I dig into for you? What can I do for you, hun?
Okay, so I have a few questions, but my main number one, and I kind of asked you before in the comments, and you kind of told me what I needed to know about my grandpa. So it's my mom's dad.
Okay.
He passed away when I was 11. But I always felt connected to him. And he was a very big part of, so I'm from Houston, Texas. I don't live there anymore, but that's where I'm from. And he was a big part of the Houston, Texas community because he had a TV show from 1950 to 1983. So it was like the longest running TV show in Houston. He would like dress up like a cowboy. He had a partner on the show, and he would like have the local kids show their talents on the show. So like Janis Joplin was on there, Willie Nelson when she was like 10. Patrick Swayze, because he's from Houston. He danced on there when he was like 14. So he had all these kids, and he never discriminated. He even wrote a book. Yeah, he wrote an autobiography, and I read it, and I was like, oh my gosh, holy crap. And like, yeah. So what you answered for me was, because I had asked, do I have my grandpa's gifts? Because apparently, and I had no idea until I read his book that he was psychic. And I was like, because recently, a lot of things have started happening, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I can't get my mind to stop racing. I'm having a hard time sleeping at night. And when I'm dreaming about places I've never been to. And then when I Google them, I'm like, holy crap, it's a real place. And it looks just like it did in my dream. So that's my other question, but I just wanted to connect with my grandpa. I just wanted to connect with him. So yeah.
Okay, let's hop in. Can I get his name, please?
Yes. So his real name or his stage name?
What did you know?
He used to go by? He used to go by Don.
Don. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm assuming D-O-N, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Don. The funny thing is, the first thing he's giving me is how handsome he thought he was.
Yeah.
So kind of like, oh.
He was very handsome.
He's giving me like a little bit of like I like and dislike his ego. Like, I like confidence, but it's like when you think all the ladies love me, it's the hair. I'm like, okay, dude, sit down. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like he was a little bit of a romantic. Like, he's giving me like, he would have been the kind of guy to bring flowers on the first date, or even, he's giving me like other information at the same time. Was he married to your grandmother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Making sure the relationship is there. He just reminds me of that kind of guy that would have brought flowers home from work, and the grandmother though just doesn't feel like she suffered him very much, so she would be like, will you go put that in a vase and sit down?
Yeah. And she's still alive, and that sounds just like her.
Okay.
She's not impressed by anything. She's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, he just seems like he wants to just like sweep you off your feet, kind of singing in the rain, very Fred Astaire kind of thing. And then she's like, no, sit down and just mop that floor. And now you're checking dirt all over here. Put those in a vase and go sit down. I dig it. I love that. The thing that I'm feeling though is that I don't get this a lot for a lot of people, but I feel like he really adored your grandmother. Like, I'm sure that they had their ups and downs like anybody did, but he just gives me not quite soulmate vibes, but like we're two peas in a pod, kind of zipped up at the hip kind of thing. Like, we were really, really close. And then he's giving me this thing where it's like we were really, really close for a long time, and then something kind of split them apart. Mm-hmm. Did they ever break up, or what was going on there?
So my mom told me as I got older that his sidekick, her name was Gina Claire, on the show.
Okay.
She actually ended up moving in with them because not because of him, well, mainly because of him, but he ended up getting sick.
Oh.
Well, my mom said that when she was little, her and my aunt, and my mom's the oldest, when they were like 9, 10 years old, they got up they wanted to get water and they're not supposed to be up.
Yeah.
So they're sneaking out and they heard somebody talking in the den, but the light was off. And they look around the corner and it's him and Gina. So I guess my grandma found out about that and she was like, she didn't even want to like look at him, but they never divorced.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Aw, that's interesting though, because he gave it to me like kind of like Siamese twins, kind of like he's giving me like a potato sack race. Like he's giving like all these partners kind of activities, and then there's this thing that showed up that kind of separated that partnership. So that's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
And you said your grandmother is still here?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he still hangs out with her from time to time, but mostly around some of the pictures. Or at least that's the visual he's kind of giving me of like one of his pictures when he was younger is like out, and he kind of like hangs out around the pictures. Like that's kind of like one of his areas. Or if there is, that's when he would show up. Let me see what else is in there. What else? Sorry, I'm confused about what he's referencing because I don't understand why he's bringing up roller skates or roller skating. So I'm trying to see like, what is this about roller skates that he's giving me? What is this? Because as we're like kind of playing with it, he's kind of referencing like I don't know Houston well enough to know if there's like a boardwalk or an area where people used to roller skate all the time. It was like the flip visual he was giving me was kind of like California when you're like roller skating on or is that Miami? One of those places where you're like roller skating by the pier kind of thing. So that was like a little visual he was giving me for a bit. Huh.
I know. I know he also did a show in Galveston. I don't know if you know anything about Galveston, but that's the coast in Texas. It's beach. And he would fly around and do his show in different cities.
Okay.
And so mainly it was Galveston, and the TV station that was there was K-Golf. And then he would fly back to Houston. And the funny thing is that I think my mom did tell me about roller skates, that he did it. He would try to get so many people to watch the show that he would just do whatever he could. But he was blind.
Oh.
He was blind. And I think my mom told me that he tried to put on roller skates.
How'd that go?
Yeah. And not everybody knew that he was blind, because like when he would have a conversation with you, he could look you straight in the eye and just have a conversation. And nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Huh. Yeah, he didn't bring that up at all. So that's fun.
Because he hated, he did hate the fact that he's talks about it in his book. Like he refused to have a seeing eye dog. He refused to walk with a cane. And anytime he would travel by himself to New York, he said that he would listen to the way the wind was blowing, or the way the traffic was going, or the way people were walking. And that's how he would travel. And then he would ask somebody, I need to get to this hotel. How many feet is it from here? Wow. And he'd walk. He refused. He's like, my disability is not gonna, like, he was just.
I love that. Aw, how cool is that? Good for you, sir. But no, the funniest thing is, like, usually disability sometimes will show up as we kind of converse, and there was zero conversation. There was not even an inkling of like him being limited in any way in that regard. So that's very cool that it wasn't a thing for him. It wasn't even a thing.
And it makes sense. He didn't want to bring it up because he hated the fact that, he's like, nope, even though I'm blind, I can do whatever I want.
he's almost given it to me like, why, like he felt like he was different enough, why add another thing? Like there was no need to add more different to it.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of threw me back for a quick second back to, I don't know if this is around the time that he was around, but he's giving me visuals from like 1960s civil rights kind of area. Did he ever feel like discriminated against being his culture there, or was that not a thing for him, or what's going on there?
No, so my grandfather was white.
Okay.
And that does make sense because he talks about it in his book. He talks about race, color, creed. He didn't discriminate against any of that. He grew up on a farm. He said that he had a black family. They would come and help, and they would all just work together. They'd have dinner together. But where he was discriminated against was he was always for the underdog. He tried to go to the military and he couldn't get into the military because of his sight was going.
Right.
A black soldier had gotten on the bus or on the train, and he was standing there looking around, didn't know where to sit. And my grandpa tells him, "You can sit with me, not a problem." And he's like, "No, I'm not supposed to sit here." Anyways, long story short, the train conductor was like, "What are you doing here? You need to be at the back of the train." My grandpa stood up and was like, "Look, I told him he could sit here. If you don't like it, you can kiss my ass," pretty much. And so the train conductor and an MP beat up my grandpa, threw him off the train, and he literally had to hitchhike home. And even on his show, he had a little girl who won a contest to win a pair of boots and meet him in person on the TV show. She was black. And his sponsor at the time tells him, "She can't be on the show. She's black." And this was around that time. He goes, "She can be on the show if she wants to. It's my show." And she won fair and square. "Well, if you're going to put her on the show, I'm just going to drop you." And he's like, "Fine, I'm still putting her on the show." And the sponsor dropped my grandpa. 2 weeks later, High C picked up my grandpa and became his sponsor. So
Well,
he got a lot of crap for like stuff like that. So yeah.
So yeah, it was like not literally racism by proxy, but he was affected by it a lot.
Right.
So that makes sense. Oh
Right.
my goodness. Well, I appreciate his willingness to buck the system. That's awesome. That's
Made me very proud of him. It makes me proud. So
absolutely. I feel like he's wanting to transition into not so much talking about himself, but more talking about you. And so like at the same time that you were talking about you being proud of him, he was kind of simultaneously talking about how he's proud of you. So it's like both of you have that sense of pride towards each other. So it's like a feedback loop of pride. So it's kind of like, oh, you guys are nice. You guys are nice. What else do you want? So it's kind of a funny, he's giving me like, okay, so your parents raised you well, but he feels like he could have done better. So it's like, of course we could have done more. Of course we could have done better, but they did okay regarding how you were raised. So awesome. So is this your mom's parents or your dad's parents?
it's my mom's dad.
Your mom's dad, okay.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm bringing up your mom, I'm just feeling like, that love of like my daughter kind of thing. So he feels like he was a good dad, or as good as he could anyway. Like he feels like he did what he could as a dad. He's giving me a reference towards like prom or something, like in regards to like, not literally a quinceañera, but like a boutonniere or a celebration, like where you would have like dressed up, dolled up, and that he wasn't able to participate because of something. Do you know what that situation was, or if there was?
Maybe it had to do with my mom. Maybe it was my mom and probably all her sisters, because they were upset that he couldn't like be like the normal dad because he couldn't see. Okay. So that might have something to do with it.
Because he was straight kind of giving me like prom vibes, but like parties, events, things that you dress up and go to. He wasn't able to be the date. He wasn't able to go pick out the dress or the thing. Like
yeah.
I don't know. He's given me something regarding like, okay, he wished he could have given up being blind to have those moments, like the moments with your daughters, the moments seeing your daughter walk down the aisle, kind of thing, having your family, seeing those special moments. That's when he hated, like vehemently despised being blind. Wish he could give that all up just to have those moments. Like if I could wish for anything, it would be to see my. He's giving me walking down the aisle again. So was that something that he missed too? Someone walking down the aisle?
Maybe. I know that he was there for all of their weddings. Again, it might just be because he was blind and he couldn't see what was going on.
So he was there. He understood the significance of being there, but he couldn't see being there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I was talking like I am him. He gave me the reference though, like things are much clearer now. And he totally gave me that whole song of like, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone kind of song. So I was like, oh, that's sweet. So it definitely feels like, vision is not a problem where he's nesting at nowadays. So that's all good. Is there any specific question that I can answer for him or for you for him about him?
I guess has he been trying to contact me? Because I know, and I know that's a dumb question, but like,
no dumb question right now.
I feel like he's there a lot of times, but I'm not sure. It's like, I don't know.
He feels it's not a trying so much as he has. So he's making a distinction between the trying portion and the whole, like, I already have, like, we already have kind of conversation. So yes, to answer that part directly, but it's not even so much I'm trying to, it's like I have been the whole time. I'm always around. I'm visiting. I do things and you see sometimes and sometimes you don't, but it's not a big deal because it's fun to try anyway. He's giving me something regarding like lights for a moment, like blinking lights. Might have gotten your attention at one point and you're kind of just like, I wonder. And it's just like, oh yeah, that you could have gone ahead and just accepted that and kind of given him like a little high five that, yay, we got it. Kind of
Yeah.
Let's see what else is in there. He feels like he wants to talk about change, like finding change in like the sofa cushions or something. And so he's kind of like giving me a reference of like, go ahead and put it in your back pocket and just, it's a gift from grandpa kind of thing. Okay. He's giving it like, this sounds sexist in a way, but it's kind of like when you find that change, he's kind of giving that whole language of like, go ahead and buy yourself something nice.
That is so funny. Yeah. And it's funny because like, like walk in the bathroom, like we'll finish cleaning and the next day I walk in the bathroom and there's a dime on the floor or there's a dime like sitting on my nightstand. And I'm like, I did not put that there. And my kids don't come in here. I mean, they do, but not like that. They're older. They're like, they don't want to be around me. But yeah, I'm constantly finding dimes.
Okay. Yeah. He brought up kind of like a payphone and like, put the dime in the payphone, make a call kind of thing. So it's just essentially kind of him trying to like connect all the dots for you. So it's okay to go ahead and assume that when you're leaving change or when change is showing up in weird random places that your dad's looking, or your grandfather is asking for a phone call or a conversation or just like, hey pops, or whatever it happens to be. Well, that's fun. Anything else there? He's bringing up your taste in shoes. So are you a shoe lady? Like, is that your thing? Or what's this about shoes that he's giving me?
So, I think that might, so I do like shoes. I don't wear them as much as I used to, like heels. I used to love heels. And it's funny because he was a shoe guy. Like, he wore nothing but cowboy boots. He had somebody that specially made his cowboy boots for the show. I had even found a pair of his cowboy boots on eBay. Asked the guy about them. Where did you find them? He found them at a garage sale. And he tried offering me to pay $450 for them. And I was like, you're nuts. No, enjoy the boots. But he had, I mean, he probably had over 100 pairs of boots. Like, no joke.
Gotcha. Yeah. You guys like shoes. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's circle up with him. Anything else you want to share? He's giving me something regarding you getting pictures taken, or like fancy pictures taken, like getting dressed up and get fancy pictures taken. Feels like something that you've been wanting to do or been thinking about, like needing to get done. So if it's something that you've been putting on your to-do list of getting like family photos, but not just any family photos, but like Kardashian style, like everyone's in their glam for days kind of family photos, and put it over the sofa photos, like go ahead and move on that. And I feel like he loves the drama of it, of the theatrics of having that kind of staged photography done.
Well, I am a photographer.
Oh.
I'm a photographer. But funny, because my 40th birthday is next September. And I've been telling my husband, you know, I need to lose weight because I want to give myself a photo shoot for my 40th birthday. That's my present to myself. So, that might be it.
Yeah, just be on board for it. Get on board for it. A little nudge that I just got from your grandfather. Okay, so this feels playful, so nothing like terrible, but he feels like reminding your partner that if he doesn't get on board with taking photos, Grandpa's gonna kick his ass. Like, so it's like, okay. So everyone has to be on board. This is what's gonna happen. We're doing drama photos. This is what's going on. Gotcha. Alrighty. You had some other questions that you wanted to dig on outside of your grandfather. What can I also look into for you? Because he's a riot. I love him.
Yeah, he's something. He's always been something else. So my next question was, what is happening to me when I'm having these super vivid dreams? I keep a dream journal.
Good.
And I'm getting to the point, because I'm a photographer, I've even started like doing like scene by scene by scene by scene, so that people can see what my dreams actually look like. Like, I had a dream last year, I think. I say last year, a few months ago. And I was walking down the street in London, never been to that side of the world. And I see this 2-story stucco building, really pretty, just there. And I just kept focusing on it. White stucco building, flowers out front. I walk up to it and it said the Mayflower.
Mm-hmm.
And I wake up and immediately I start drawing. And my husband's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, don't talk to me right now. I have to finish drawing this. Otherwise I'm going to lose it.
Yeah.
I draw it out and I have the drawing. And he goes, what would you do if you Googled it and it was a real place? And I was like, well, let's try that. I did. And it's an actual place in London and it looks almost exact to my drawing.
Nice. Go you, go you.
So I'm like, what is and I had another dream too, but I'm not going to get into all that. But nothing, but it was about a specific place too. And it was like one of my best friends, she found a picture on Google and I was like, that's St. Patrick's Cathedral. I've never been there. I've never been to New York, but like my drawing looked just like it. So I'm like, what is happening to me? And like, yeah.
It's not a surprise that you're having like your skill sets developing in a medium that you're most versed in. So this is not unusual. Like for me, I write. I love to write. That's my big communication method, is writing. And so most of my skill sets show up through words and written language. That's how they kind of cracked open for me. So this showing up for you is not unusual at all. The first couple of things that's showing up for me regarding like, what is this experience? Kind of like that whole screaming to the universe, what's happening to me? It feels like your lives are overlapping, kind of like in a braided kind of thing. Like think of it like if, for instance, in a past life, you were super well traveled and you traveled from here to there because of the XYZ reasons. Of course, you would see these things and you would recognize it. You would see that thing and recognize it, especially if you're maybe like a history buff, because you're probably also intuitive back then too, and you were drawn to these areas for reasons that, who really knows? But it feels like when you're dreaming, there's less resistance between who you are now, who you are, wherever the future is, and who you were then. Back then, there's less resistance between all of those moments, and you can essentially kind of travel if you really wanted to. So the fact that you're having those memories showing up for you, not a surprise, not a big deal, and just have fun with it. Like something else that you can try to do if you are someone who can lucid dream, you could travel inside the dream or see if you can find information about the time and space that you're in that dream. Because if it's more modern, maybe you're actually traveling, doing some astral projection and traveling that way. If it's in the past or in the future, maybe those are like current, like past lives and future lives that are kind of blending at that moment. But I'm not at all surprised if you're a photographer that you're having visual experiences in that way. So I'm not surprised at all.
Okay.
Let's see if there's anything else in there. Something that's showing up, and I just don't know how to place it or what it is. When we just talked briefly about traveling, a traveling salesperson kind of came to mind. I'm trying to place where that is though, or where's that from? That's the only thing I dislike about doing past life work live, because it feels the same in advance. It feels the same as like your current life when I'm doing past life work. So if we're doing past life work and I'm talking out loud because now I have to piece this together. You done gave me something, I gotta go run with it, hun. If I'm getting traveling salesman, is it you? All right. Something that I would love for you to do if you ever get the opportunity is do a past life regression regarding these places. Because the feeling that I'm getting is traveling sales kind of thing. And also a reference to like the suit, the boiler hat, the it's not quite a briefcase, but it's an important bag of some sort, carrying an important bag. And you doing your travels because of that. Not because of the bag, but like something altogether is having you travel. If you're able to do a regression with that or something like it, it might give you a chance to kind of unpack that a little more.
So I actually did do a past life regression.
Cool.
I did. But nothing with a traveling salesperson came up in my past life regression.
Okay.
But that does connect to my grandpa. So when he was able to see, when he was able to see, and he talks about it in his book, he was a traveling salesman. He used to go door to door and travel around to different cities trying to sell magazines.
Okay. I'll accept that.
But I did do my past life regression, and it brought me back to the Mayflower pub in London. And I actually went inside in my past life regression. And I talked to the bartender, and he poured me a whiskey, and he gave it to me and smiled as he's cleaning a glass. And he says, research the name Bartolot. I did, and come to find out that is part of our family. And so I did ancestry.com, and that part of the family, when they came to America, changed their name to Bartlett. And come to find out, my great-great-great-great-grandfather signed the Declaration of Independence, and his name was Josiah Bartlett. And my grandpa's real name is Jack Bartlett Maloney. So it's like, Yeah.
Okay. You
Yeah.
got some awesome history going on there. Sweet. Well, damn.
I don't know.
That's very cool. That's very cool. I don't even know if I answered your question because I know that your main question was like, well, what is all this? So if
Yeah.
your father's showing up and he's giving you visuals of some of the places that he used to visit or did visit, then that makes total sense. If you're having kind of like bleed over with past lives, that makes sense. Also, it could be both. It could be both. You know
Yeah.
what? It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. Um, this one thing that is coming up just a little bit for you though, whenever you run into something that you don't understand, just understand it's not meant to be fearful. It's not meant to scare you. It's just we don't understand it at that moment. And so it just needs a little bit more time to unpack it. It's not like if you go and see a murder scene, for instance, it's not meant to scare you. It's just,
Right.
oh, that's an event that occurred in that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't understand it, that's okay. Just give it a chance and it'll explain itself, essentially. Is there anything else I can dig into for you, hon?
The only other thing I can think of is like, are there other spirits trying to contact me?
Yeah.
And I try to sit and like be quiet, but my mind is like not allowing me to because I'm like, if they are, then maybe I'll get something, but
It's all good. No one says that you have to connect the cliche way that other people do it. Maybe your method is a little bit different. Maybe it takes noise. Maybe if you can't quiet your brain, maybe it's hearing between the voices, or maybe it's hearing between the. For instance, only because I have the same thing where it's just like I have a constant running dialogue. I can't shut this thing up. Instead, I free reign. I just sit there and listen to it and listen to what it says and follow its rabbit hole because I know when I'm having the inner monologue and I know when the inner monologue is something else. And if it's something else, then I listen to it and just see where it takes you, see where it shows up. Let's see. Any other spirits? So the feeling that I'm getting for you, though, is that it's not so much like your whole ancestral tree is trying to talk to you all at once. So no worries there. But what I do feel like is you're getting the beginning steps, the intro to spirit communication 101 kind of steps. It's like, we're going to turn this switch on and see how you react. We're going to turn this dial and see what happens for you. Oh, too much? All right, we'll turn it back down. We'll come back and visit that later. So it's just a little bit at a time. So I know your specific is like any other spirits in particular. It doesn't feel like a specific one. It feels like awareness. You feeling awareness and learning how to set boundaries feels like that's mission critical at the moment, is learning how to control your skill set and turn the volume up and turn the volume down, because that will make living with this so much easier if you remember that you have control over this, regardless of what often a lot of people in the public like to say is like, oh, I can't help it. I'm too psychic for this. So no, it just, if you have the ability to turn your volume up or turn your volume down, or have boundaries, have rules that you guys can't talk to me when I'm sleeping. Just that's the rule of this house. I will set up a time. You will come back and visit me at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning when I've had my coffee and have my notebook. We can chat then. Like whatever rules it is that you need just to kind of make life stable for you, go ahead and start implementing those, because this is a partnership. This is not somebody that just gets to use you at their whim. So yeah, you'll have control here. Any other spirit? Dude, we could totally I feel like we could jump into your family and kind of like, there's Aunt May, there's Aunt June, there's my there's that baby that didn't quite make it. I got the dog. I got the. Well, we could do that for days.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, and that's just on my mom's side.
Exactly.
Because my dad's side, I don't really know anything about. So I'm like,
and that's okay. If you know what the relationship is, you can still get information there. See, Miss Denise, I'm telling you, we need to do something about being able to start opening that line of communication. Do you do tarot for yourself or anything like that? Oracle or anything like that?
I did it one time. I was actually gifted a box of tarot. So I was like, ooh, but I didn't want to do too much because I'm like, I know there's a process and I don't want to just like jump into it because I don't know. I don't know what's holding me back from it. To tell you honestly, I don't know. We tend to get I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of it. I don't want to do it the wrong way.
Well, the cool thing is that you can't break it.
Yeah.
You're not going to crack open the universe if you pick up a deck of cards and do something wonky with it. The cool part about tarot is that it is completely adaptive to whatever you need it to be. The reason that I bring it up, though, is that you can use your deck of cards as a layer of communication between you and your ancestors. So I'm sure you've heard of me talk about how you can use tarot to literally kind of read about your ancestry, and your ancestors. But something that I do for my grandfather, because he's a weirdo and he likes this process, so I do it with him. I take a deck of cards that's his favorite deck, and it's not out right now, but I take his favorite deck of cards. I'm thinking about him. I'll shuffle them, and then I will ask my intro question. What's up, Grandpa? And I'll get my first card. And he's like, nothing, just chilling. And I'm like, oh. Well, funny. He's like, you know what? I'm dressing up and looking like, whatever. And so we're just having a conversation, and it keeps going. And it just gets funnier and weirder. And because he's a weirdo, so that makes sense for him. But it just gives you a chance to have a literal dialogue using photos and using pictures and having that conversation with your whoever it happens to be for you. That's what I do with my grandfather, and it works for him. And see if it works for you, or if it at least kickstarts your process. Maybe then you can start like writing him or journaling to him or having like a dialogue in your head with him, and just accept it as true and call it good and have that time with him.
Okay.
So, yeah. Is there anything else I can dig into for you, hon?
I guess is there anything I should know about my dad's side of the family? I haven't seen my dad since I was 5, but I got in touch with him again on Facebook. But there's really nothing there. He doesn't message me to check up on me or anything like that. We're just friends on Facebook, and that's basically it. His brother actually calls me almost every week to see how I'm doing. So my uncle, yeah. And I found out I have 14 brothers and sisters.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Family. Let's see, the feelings I'm getting off of that, your question was, is there anything that you need to know about that side of the family? It felt like a ball of wax, and it was like, let's wait. So it's I never like that response, because it feels like a cop out. Now's the best time to tell me everything, and no one's going to tell me anything. So I still want to dig at it, though. So why do we need to wait? So the way it's being described to me is it feels a little bit like Pandora's box in that regard, where if you open it, you can open it. You just really may want to close it and put it back on the shelf. And so you kind of have to sneak up on that one. It's not a bad thing. Totally do eventually dig into that. But it just feels like bigger than this session, bigger than what you're prepared for right now. And it'll be easier to handle when you're trying to see what that little nudge was. Just a second. It feels like it'll be easier to handle when there's less hurt feelings involved. So how old is your dad? Still present?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 72. He'll be 73 this year, I think.
Okay.
And so, he's in Costa Rica. That's where he's from.
Gotcha. Okay. Because it feels like if you dig into it now, you're going to butt up against a lot of resistance and a lot of hurt feelings, right? So you're going to accidentally kind of stagnate your progress. If you wait until maybe he transitions or someone in the family passes, you're going to have a lot more access to information just because of the upheaval that just occurred in the house, kind of thing. So yeah, totally dig into it if you want to. Just understand you're going to get a lot of brick walls, essentially. Alrighty, hun. Just making sure I've hit all the details that I need to. Yeah, I feel like we've hit it all, and I could do a little mic drop.
Okay.
Alrighty. Let me bring you both on, because I see Mrs. Denise is sitting there waiting so sweetly. Yay! Thank you, ladies, so much for allowing me to work with you. It was super fun. But I want to, of course, hop into the comments and just say hello and send my goodbyes, or say my goodbyes. Say the goodbyes. Aw. Oh my goodness. So I was just, one of my dear sweet peas, Miss Pilani, she was talking about that we had a spammer in there, but Miss Lori got it. So that's always wonderful. We did have a couple other people. Miss Brandy shows Miss Lori's taking care of people. Miss Laura, there's definitely something you need to control, balancing the volume. Oh, in relation to like your intuition and your psychic talents, Miss Denise, is that something that you've kind of learned over the time of how to kind of turn the volume up, turn the volume down?
Yes, definitely. It's all about the boundaries, like you told her. It's like, no, you're not showing up while I'm, most of my people show up when I'm in the shower. That's if I'm going to do a reading all the time. I'm like, and I've just gotten used to it now. I'm like, my spirit guides, everybody. Because that's when they know I'm not thinking about anything else. So, but yeah, definitely it's about setting those boundaries for certain, man.
Definitely.
That'll just trip you up quicker than anything.
So
just allowing in all this information 24/7,
Right. What does boundaries look like for you, so that our Miss Patricia can have an example of what that looks like?
For me, boundaries are I'm okay with the shower, but don't bug me while I'm sitting on the couch watching my favorite TV show. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Just like basic stuff. And one of my big boundaries is when I'm doing readings, I personally do not do anything to do with, I don't need to sit there and go, okay, and I'm feeling okay, they died of this. I refuse to deal with, so I don't need them to come in here all like showing me their death thing. You've already gone through that trauma and stuff. So that is one of my things. I tell them what I won't listen to. I don't need to hear that. Most of my people will show up and show me beautiful moments. Not that like the dark stuff isn't necessary to share with someone, but yeah, it's for me. That is number one boundary, is the no crappy stuff, and no, just like don't jump up on me, don't just like, boo, I'm here, like, okay, move up on a bitch, like,
yeah, because sometimes I will say sometimes, like, especially when I'm coming to the room and like it's time for bed and I'm turning all the lights off and my hallway's long, I can feel it, feels like something's rushing up on me, and I'm like, I turn around and I'm like, okay, get in my room, shut the door, and I'm like, just shut the door, and then I'm like, I have to take a breath, and I'm like, okay.
Like when you're doing dishes, I always tell my husband, do not ever sneak up on me because I will stab you. Not intentionally, but I don't want to hurt nobody. So yeah, it's just like, come up, come to me with some sort of like, okay, I'm coming out. Yeah, you'll learn over time.
When I was first starting, my biggest conversation was, you cannot scare me. Like, do not do anything that's going to scare me. Y'all know what scares me. Y'all do not do anything that scares me. And so they baby stepped me for a long time. It was just little tiny steps. And then I was getting more and more prepared, more and more ready to take on the longer leaps, the bigger leaps. And so like, if you have, for instance, that situation again, where you're in that hall and you feel that rush, you can turn around. You're like, no, whatever that is, no, we're not doing this right now. Meet me at 10 o'clock tomorrow and I'll talk to you, or whatever it is. Yes. It is still, these are still cogent or sentient, energies that have a language, and you can respond to them and they will acknowledge. I mean, you are the most energetically dense thing in the room. So one, of course, they're going to hear you, and of course, they're going to respond to you. It has never been my experience to have a spirit energy do anything detrimental to another person. We hear about it on TV. We hear about it in the movies. It makes great theater. I've never witnessed it in person.
And so too much energy for them too. I mean, when you hear like a voice, that takes a lot of energy for spirit to come through that way. Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot. And for them to like knock stuff off, my God, they have to go and take a week vacation probably, if you have time.
So to follow up with that, I take pictures of everything. I just do. That's probably why I'm a photographer. But a few years ago, went to go pick up my husband from work, got the kids when they were so much younger. And I took a picture. We got home and we walk in. He goes, "Did you do that?" And I was like, "No, I did not." So on our bar, we lived in an apartment. We had a bar that overlooked the kitchen. I grabbed my keys, left. Well, I had 3 little religious statues that my grandma had given to me because she's a devout Catholic, my grandpa's wife. Devout Catholic. 3 little statues in the corner, and they were lined up in the middle where the keys were in front of each other. And 3 of my champagne glasses that were next to my kitchen sink, 2 were flipped upside down on top of each other, and then the other one was on the other side, and the statues were in the middle. And my great aunt's obituary card that had been in my dresser was in one of the statues. My great aunt is my grandma's sister.
Okay.
So things like that will happen. My bedroom door will close. It doesn't scare me. I don't feel
brujas in your family line. That's what you got. You got some brujas.
And it's funny because like if there is somebody that is, nobody has come out to say it, because everybody that I know on my mom's side, all devout Catholic. Even my mom raised us as Catholic, and I don't identify as Catholic anymore. I've gone a different route on my spirituality. So if there is, I would like to know that, but yeah. So maybe it was my grandpa.
You never know. I mean, I know like within a lot of the Latino culture, there is a lot of blending between Catholicism and like and Lucumia and the others. And so they blended folk magic with Catholicism so they could both exist at the same time. And you can be devout Catholic and still need to sage the place. Like that is probably the way of it. But thank you, ladies, so much for sharing and chatting with me. You guys are fun. You guys are so much fun. We're going to have to figure out a way to do this again.
Yeah, most definitely. I would love to.
Right. So ladies, hang tight. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye and end the broadcast. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. You all take care and have a great rest of your week.